Joining me now are two of the members of that 17-member bipartisan working group, Democratic Senator Jon Tester and Republican Senator John Hoeven. Thank you both. It's great to see you together. Now, if we could just bring everybody together, do a deal. Has the group met yet to start negotiating? Let me ask you first.
We'll meet this afternoon. Yeah. We'll meet in about 45 minutes or so.
And is money for a wall, as far as you're concerned, Jon Tester, completely off the table? You know, we heard Nancy Pelosi back in the day saying it's immoral, not a dollar, rather, for the wall. Is that something that would be considered a fence, a wall, whatever you want to call it?
What I really hope the committee does, Andrea, and I think that Senator Hoeven, there's good people on this committee, good common sense people on this committee on both sides of the aisle. What I hope they do is talk about the things that'll help secure the border in the most cost-effective way. If we can do that, deal with the humanitarian crisis on the border, deal with some cost comparative analysis on what the best way it is so we aren't treating the American taxpayer like an ATM machine. And I think we can come up with something that really does secure the border moving forward, whether that includes a fence or whether that includes technology, manpower, aircraft, whatever it might be.
Senator Hoeven, the intelligence leaders who briefed the Intelligence Committee yesterday on the worldwide threats didn't even mention a rationale for a border wall, and they didn't talk about the southern border except midway through their report, their written report, not even in their summary, verbal summary, and it was only in the context of drug interdictions, including China, Mexico, worldwide drug interdictions. So it's not even one of their top threats. How do you justify shutting down the government again or declaring a national emergency, as the president is threatening to do?
No one wants the government shut down, and that's why we're working hard to find a solution. If you talk to the border security professionals, though, the people, the career professionals that are out there working every day on the border, they'll tell you that they need all three. They need people, they need technology, and they need a barrier. And, you know, we've built barrier under President Obama, under President Bush, under President Clinton. And so, again, I think it's going to be all three. And our job is to figure out how to do a good job of that and rely on the professionals in terms of what we fund and how we fund it.
Senator Hoeven, as a member of the Republican caucus, you all voice voted an agreement before the shutdown and then discovered that the president wasn't going to sign it. How do you know that whatever you agree to will be agreed to by the president?
Well, we've got to come up with something that the House can pass, the Senate can pass, and the president will sign. So that's going to be part of the ongoing dialogue and negotiation. We're used to doing that. I mean, we're on the Appropriations Committee. We work on these kind of issues all the time. And most of our bills pass on a big bipartisan basis. And so that's what we're shooting for.
But this time and in the past, the difference is the president. The president of the United States, unpredictable. Senator Tester, doesn't that create a problem for both sides?
Look, I think we need to act like a co-equal branch of government with the executive branch, and I think that Senator Capito, who's the chairman of the subcommittee on Homeland Security, and I'm the ranking member on that subcommittee, put forth a template during the last Congress that I think can work moving forward. And I just think it's just a matter of allowing the people in the room to have a good, honest discussion and move forward on how we best secure that border, both the southern and northern border too, I might add, and our ports. And I think if we're able to have a good, honest discussion, there's people of common sense in the room, I think we'll come up with something that works for this nation.
Is there time left to do that and also include some protection for the Dreamers, for the TPS people who are here for emergency relief? Senator Tester?
Well, I anticipate it's going to be a pretty simple border security bill myself, although, you know, we haven't met yet. We haven't set forth, you know, how often we're going to engage. But time is of the essence. I think we've only got about 10 days to get this done. So I don't think we're going to want to complicate it too much with complicated issues. And as Senator Hoeven said, in the end, it's got to be something that the House can pass, the Senate can pass, and the President can sign.
Senators, I wanted to play something that Lindsey Graham had to say yesterday about broadening the bill.
Broaden the deal makes sense to me. We got to raise the debt ceiling in March. So let's think about doing it now. Get a budget deal for 2 years that secures defense funding, but recognizes you'll have to increase non-defense to get Democrats on board. Nobody wants to shut the government down again in their right mind, maybe pass legislation.
Senator Hoeven, what about throwing the debt ceiling into that mix?
There's a lot of ideas. We start with what Senator Tester just described. The basic deal we need to get done is a solution on funding border security, move the remaining appropriations bills for the year. Now, what else comes into the mix, we'll have to see. At the end of the day, we've got to get something we can get people to agree to.
And when you talk about getting something that people can agree to, I mean, you've got these appropriation bills that everybody has signed off on, so you really are just focusing now, I would assume, on the Homeland piece of it.
Yeah.
Right, Senator Hoeven?
Yeah, that's really right. And remember, the other thing the president put out there, which may play into what you just showed there with Lindsey Graham, is he said he would be willing to have weekly bipartisan meetings at the White House to talk about immigration reform if we can get this deal done.
Well, John Tester, that could open the door to something that has been the holy grail for years now, going back to, John McCain and others back in the day who tried to come up with a broad immigration bill. How great would that be?
That'd be marvelous. So look, we've got an opportunity here to show some bipartisan working together and come up with a bill that works for this nation on border security. Once we get past that, now we're back in the good old days when people used to work together and we'd move things forward. Then anything can be done. And I think comprehensive immigration is something this country needs. I think there's bipartisan support for it. And man, if we could come out of this conference committee with a good bill that secures the borders of this country and then move into comprehensive immigration reform, Congress's approval rating might get out of the single digits if that were to happen.
And Republicans have always said secure the border first and then start that negotiation. So maybe this creates that opportunity.
Senator Tester, I gather there's a Democratic senators retreat. Is that something that's normally done, or is this to strategize in particular about this issue or a broader agenda?
Look, I didn't pick up the question that you said, but I think initially what we need to do is have this meeting today in about 45 minutes, set forth what we're going to be negotiating on, and then roll up our sleeves and get to work and move forward. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again, I think it's really important that the legislative branch acts as a co-equal branch of government and does what we think is right to secure that border and move forward. Well,
Senators John Hoeven and John Tester together, a bipartisan moment. I can see your agreement right there. Let's hope it can spread to the rest of you. Thank you very, and of course to the White House, importantly. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thanks,
I really
Andrea.
appreciate you both being on.